This is Changing Channels with Larry Walsh, the Channelnomics podcast that connects you with channel chiefs, thought leaders, and executives about what it takes to get the next generation of tech to market. Here's your host, Larry Walsh, the CEO and Chief Analyst of Channelnomics.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Changing Channels. As the lady said, I'm Larry Walsh. Today we're here to talk about cloud services. It's a topic we visit frequently because it's something that is just on everyone's mind about not just where we are today, but where we're going. The channel is and will remain the best way of getting products to market and reaching customers. And this is true even in services models like cloud. According to our research here at Channelnomics, the average solution provider, be it a reseller or a solution provider, generates at least 20% of its revenue from the sale of cloud-based services. Among the more popular and pervasive cloud offerings in the channel are productivity suites such as Office 365 from Microsoft and backup applications. Now, what makes these applications so popular amongst partners? Well, they're very familiar. Solution providers worked with these applications before in the on-premises world in various forms. When these apps moved to the cloud, the channel followed with great success. What cloud services aren't as highly penetrated among partners are the more advanced applications such as customer relationship management and enterprise resource management. Now, CRM and ERP are essential applications to business. As businesses digitally transform their operations, they need advanced cloud-based applications that can automate processes, maintain accurate records, and facilitate better customer experiences. The challenge that many businesses face is setting up and operationalizing these advanced cloud-based applications. Many digital transformation and advanced cloud application projects fail because customers don't have the expertise or skilled resources to bring their vision into reality. And this is where they need partners with skills and expertise to help them get the most out of their investments. The challenge many partners face is the same as the customer: the lack of experience and resources. Building practices beyond common cloud applications takes time, money, and most importantly, the acceptance of risk. Many vendors provide support to partners that smooth and de-risk the process, making the development of new cloud practices more palatable. The truth, though, is advanced cloud applications represent a big opportunity for solution providers. The underpenetration by partners and the need of customers for support creates a tremendous opportunity. And as they say, where there's mystery, there's margin. And joining us on Changing Channels are two people who spend their days dispelling mystery about how partners can get into cloud services. They are Crescas, the cloud solutions architect at Microsoft, and Mathew Batterbee, the global head of business applications at Ingram Micro Cloud. Welcome to the Changing Channels, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Matt, what's the interest you're seeing amongst partners for services? Now, so Channelnomics and Ingram Micro Cloud, we recently did our annual State of the Cloud Channel report. It found that the average partner's share of wallet, or the amount of money that they're generating from cloud services, is 21%, and it's trending up, and it has been trending up for a while. But the source of that revenue is not even. It's not evenly distributed amongst the technologies of products. What do you see in terms of interest beyond the more common cloud applications?
Definitely a huge interest in terms of services from a Dynamics perspective. The services opportunity is so much more than any of the Microsoft clouds. We're really seeing these partners able to offer more services, more support, but also just from an all-up CRM or ERP market perspective, the CRM is the fastest growing SaaS market on the planet. The opportunity is absolutely huge. Scheduled to be around a $200 billion industry by 2024. But we are seeing these partners really wanting to expand into these new areas, and that's what it is. It is expansion. I mean, even when you look at Ingram Micro Cloud, how many partners that we look after, it's a fraction of that are currently doing Dynamics 365. And also just the opportunity in the customer base. 98% of all Microsoft 365 users globally don't use Dynamics. And I don't know what the updated number is on the number of active daily Teams users. I think it's about 150 million, probably more than that now. So if you think about 2% of them are using Dynamics and the rest aren't, there's a huge, huge opportunity. And those opportunities aren't really the same when it comes to Microsoft 365. You could argue Azure, there's still huge potential with Azure. But when it comes to CRM, ERP, we're also seeing that as far as tech trends in 2022, a big area of focus for these organizations is data, AI, automation, and that all stems from a good CRM or ERP solution enabling better productivity, more automation, and also somewhere to actually harness that data from and consume that data and actually use it for things like actionable insights and so on. So when you look at all these different trends and statistics, the market's there, and we are seeing all the time more and more partners transacting their first Dynamics customer and then growing organically on that. So we are seeing more and more interest than ever before. If we'd have gone back even 2 years to speak to some of these partners that have never done Dynamics before, it's a hard conversation. Right now, it's not that much of a hard conversation, and I think some of that comes from the market, some of that comes from the resources available to help partners from Microsoft, from Ingram, but also just everything that's happened over the last 2 years and the way that the market's gone. It's really clear now that the opportunity is there, because I think actually more than ever, partners are experiencing themselves they need better CRM systems internally and ERP solutions as well, and having to cope with hybrid and remote working. So there's so much more opportunity now.
Yeah, I see it too. I mean, because again, the digital transformation wave is just going to keep rolling. One of the things that we've noted through the past 2 years of the pandemic is the trends that we saw unfolding before accelerated, and they are becoming essentials. But the thing we saw before, Craig, was that much as what Matt was just describing, is that partners were not investing in the more advanced applications like Dynamics 365. They were very much wedded to Office 365 and other similar applications that were more addressable for them. What was it that was holding them back? And it was, as Matt's saying, is that the market may be dragging them in, the trend lines may be pulling them along now. But what held them back before, and what do they need to do to build a successful practice around something like Dynamics 365?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was fear, right? I mean, you talk about the title of demystifying. There was fear in getting into a business that you had absolutely no experience in. And to Matt's point, right, we didn't have necessarily the tools or the resources to stand up a new partner who's never sold a business application before. But what I kept seeing is partners who had background in, say, for example, manufacturing. And they would consult. And then when it came time to talk about an accounting system or an MRP system or an ERP system, they would hand it over to somebody else. And at some point it becomes, well, why am I handing that over? I have the relationship. Why don't I make money and build a services practices around that? And so I was starting to see more and more M365 partners getting involved. And again, we had the resources and tools to onboard them. And the other thing too, is from a customer need point of view, these systems of records, I mean, we talk about ERP and CRM sometimes interchangeably as, hey, these rigid monolithic applications that do a great job of automating business processes. But as an end user, like we use the term information worker, right, or individual contributor, I'm used to working in Teams and Office and Word and Excel, and that's where I want to perform my job. So what continues to be happening for us on the Dynamics platform is a blending of those platforms. So you had that rigidity of a structured world in business applications, but you had the unstructured world that you and I work in. And where I'm seeing that convergence so much is in all of the Dynamics applications working together to blend in with Teams and Word, and I can do my job in Excel and hit a button and upload transactions into a system of record such as the ERP application. So right. Yeah, that's a big change that's been happening over the years.
Yeah, and I do see this though, is that there is you're right, there is a comfort level, and I have to say I misspoke a bit saying Office 365. It is Microsoft's 365 for commercial users. But I do see that there is a growing demand, because as the customer experience becomes more prevalent as a value proposition, that the customers are seeking the expertise. And you're right, they're opening up that opportunity. So where do we start with the partners? What is it, and Craig, I'm going to stick with you on this because you spend a lot of time thinking about these issues. What is it, the methodologies or the models that need to be adopted by partners in order to take those first steps and build a practice of success?
Yeah, I would say it's first and foremost is, hey, what is your opportunity? How are you going to make money? And I've put together tools over the years in terms of partner onboarding and steps around executives and marketing and salespeople and consulting. I mean, all of that needs to be considered in terms of how are you going to go to market, but ultimately it's how are you going to make money, and again, I see so oftentimes partners get involved in this, but they don't think about the packaging. How am I going to package this up? If you're in it to just sell a SKU and just to add, hey, I want to sell ERP, I want to sell a CRM application, that's the wrong opportunity, and you're never going to make money on this. If you think about it in kind of a 3-year, 5-year, maybe 10-year long-term strategy, how am I going to build these recurring business and making sure not only do I sell new seats, but how am I going to make sure that the renewal process maintains and I have this annuity business going forward? But again, I go back to I'm going to get into this if I know how to make money, what's my margins on it? And don't just sell a SKU. Think about adding a Teams license. Think about adding your IP. And let's say, for example, you are focused in healthcare or financial services. Partners seem to be intimidated sometimes about charging for their IP when they don't need to, right? They can make a greater opportunity when you're thinking about packaging all of this up together with Dynamics 365. And again, it could be ERP. It could be a CRM application. It could be Power Platform, as Matt was saying, thinking about replacing some of the legacy apps that these customers are using. All that together just makes such a beautiful story for a new partner who's raising their hand. And again, we have so many resources available. We have partners like Matt who've put together programs. We have programs. Getting certified in the product is another great way to kind of hang on your office and say, hey, we're certified in the product and we can start to sell it.
Yeah. One thing I'll just add to that as well. One thing that I found in trying to get a partner to really understand that opportunity in the beginning is just trying to get them to change the way they speak to their customers. So a typical Microsoft 365 reseller, we find it's really technology driven. It's a tech-led conversation. If we can transform that into more of a business-led conversation, understanding their customer, what do they want to do over the next 3 years? Do they want to grow? Do they want to stay where they are? And what's holding them back from achieving that growth? We can get customers talking about those sorts of things. They'll open up and they will talk about, today we use Excel as our finance solution, and those kind of things. They start to open up and talk about it. And your reaction there, Larry, is perfect. It's a little bit of a laugh and kind of going, because it's true, it happens. And this is where when I've told partners just to go and have conversations with some of their biggest customers, for example, and just understand them as a customer, understand them as a business in a way that they don't today. And they come back to me with the answers of those questions. It's kind of, okay, you've got a CRM opportunity, or you've got an ERP, or you've got both. They're using Excel for something, they're using something else for something else. They've got data siloed off. They've got salespeople using multiple tools. They're spending 70% of their time not selling. They're doing admin work, all these kind of things. So, in the first instance as well, just getting a partner to change up the conversation can be really impactful.
So Matt, you and Ingram Micro Cloud do this not just with Microsoft, but with a number of other companies that are have the same ambitions of getting partners that have cloud practices or want to expand upon those practices. What are you doing to facilitate that conversation you're talking about? What are you doing? Because you're absolutely right. I think that a big part of the problem why these projects don't go over well with the customer, or the customer doesn't perceive it goes over well, is because they do start off as a technology conversation when they're always about business process and business outcomes.
Yeah, this is it. So I think we've done a good job over the last couple of years of building out training programs, again, utilizing what Microsoft provide as well, but we've created our own training programs to try and simplify things. The one big thing, Craig mentioned it before, around the fear of Dynamics. And, if we said to a partner, we'll train your sales team in Dynamics, it will just take 8 hours. That's going to put them off straight away. So we've developed training that we can deliver in an hour or even sometimes 30 minutes to help them just have that sales conversation. And we found that that's become more attractive to a partner wanting to dip their toe in the water and have and understand a bit more of the opportunity and in their customer base as well. So, that's something that we found is just by enabling them lightly and trying to, shift that focus from tech-led to a business-led conversation. And then it doesn't matter if they're a Microsoft partner or, another vendor partner, they can get their customers to open up about Dynamics opportunities.
Hey, Matt, too, you and I have spoken about this before and in some of the training we've done, but there's the fear of that if you don't have that conversation, there is another partner right in the back of the line who will have that conversation with your client.
Yeah, 100%. It's an aggressive market now.
Yeah. So, Craig, you actually was like reading my mind on that because no, because we hear this frequently, particularly amongst companies. It doesn't matter whether they're a partner or a vendor that are making the transition from a legacy transactional model to a services-based model, that they don't have the right salespeople, or their salespeople can't, whatever the next, whatever comes after that. And they often say that we got to refresh the entire sales team, or we have to stand up a parallel team. What do you think it takes to actually get that sales engine built and running? Do you need to, is it a refresh of your sales team? Do you have to go through extensive reconditioning of your salespeople, or is it a little bit of both?
Probably a little bit of both, and actually a combination of marketing. I mean, when I think about the change in the sales behavior, and this is not foreign to anybody here on the call, while salespeople are used to selling these large $100,000, $500,000 deals and waiting for the big paycheck, it's up to the owners to think about how do we motivate and incentivize those sales folks to, again, be rewarded for opportunities. But what I also have seen not change as rapidly is satisfying the needs of that prospect or the customer by delivering digital assets on your website, as an example, right? Providing kind of a sales structure so that, as we know, these customers know where to find and research applications. So they're coming typically to our sales teams 50, 60, 70% qualified. They know the solutions that they want. What's missing is I need to find the right partner who knows my industry or my vertical, my business exactly the way it is, to make sure that I have that true partnership. So it isn't just, Larry, the training of salespeople and having a dedicated sales team. I think maybe 3 or 5 years ago, when we were first getting our story together at Microsoft, that was the case. But I think it's up to, again, ownership to think about the rewarding factor. But it's also, how are you selling to the anonymous buyer who has no idea who your salespeople are, so that when they come to you and they actually pick up the phone, they already know, hey, these guys know discrete manufacturing. They are a food processor and they've got their story baked. I just want to make sure it's a good partner for us.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Matt. You mentioned this about the need for changing the conversation, but changing the conversation isn't enough. It's also recognizing when the conversation should start. So what do you see are the triggers that partners should be looking for that open the opportunity to have a conversation about more advanced applications like Dynamics 365?
I actually think now Microsoft have just gifted partners, in particular Microsoft now, with an opportunity to go and speak to every single one of their customers with the new commerce experience. With this change that's happening with Microsoft licenses, we should be encouraging partners to go and speak to their customers about the licensing changes. But why stop there? Why does it have to be, if a customer is using a particular Microsoft 365 SKU today, Business Premium, why does it, when we move into the new commerce experiences, why does it have to be Business Premium? Why is it not E3, E5? Why are we not, why is the customer not wanting to upgrade and have that conversation, and then widen that conversation as well into the conversation we talked about, business-led processes, those kind of conversations, and open up Azure opportunities, open up Dynamics opportunities. So have more of a customer review. That wouldn't have been my answer months ago. But now with Microsoft's new commerce experience, essentially all partners need to go and talk to their customers. So now it's about kind of owning that conversation and turning it into more of a customer review, a licensing review, and understanding more about their customer and the opportunity that sits with them.
Yeah. So, Craig, we've been talking about the beginning of this process, which is understanding what the market opportunity is, engaging with the customer differently, helping them understand what's available to them in terms of a next level cloud solution. But what comes after that? What is the post-sale side of this engagement? What are the other skills and resources that the partners need to bring to the table to help the customers get the most out of these investments?
Well, it's probably the biggest gap after that, and that is, how am I going to implement this, right? It's one thing to have a fear of getting in from a IT conversation to a CFO. It's another to think about, how am I going to actually implement this? And I know we at Microsoft have programs to do a peer-to-peer partnership where we help organizations who want help in terms of guidance, thinking about how do we package up our implementation, or even doing a white label where, as an example, there's an organization behind the scenes doing that implementation for you, and you're shadowing them to go forward. So, I mean, that to me is probably the biggest challenge for most organizations. Say, okay, I get what Larry, Matt, and Craig, you're saying. I see the business opportunity. The dollars are in my eyeballs. But from a legal perspective, I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing and not get into trouble, and making sure there's a successful implementation. I mean, you kicked it off from the beginning, right? The biggest failure in this industry, and I've been doing this for Microsoft for 21 years, it's user adoption, right? Yeah. So how do we get users adopted using the product and making it easier? We do that in product, I think, very, very well. I've seen some of our ERP applications becoming more and more kind of guided tours and inset videos. But again, we need to make sure partners are trained and certified to make sure that implementation goes forward. And I'm sure, Matt, I know you guys have programs in place as well to make that successful for the partner.
Yeah, definitely. We deliver training workshops all the time, enabling them to understand how to use the applications. And again, sometimes using tools, almost, I call it cheating, like CDX from Microsoft, where you can use a PowerPoint presentation instead of having actually a demo tenant set up. There's all these different tools that are in play to help users, help partners really understand the application and how to use it. And we're seeing more and more partners actually developing their own IP around training and user adoption. There's some incredible websites out there from partners, completely free to use, with thousands of videos constantly getting updated, that are enabling users within the Dynamics community to just stay up to date and make sure they're, any shortcuts that are available, they're there and they're available and they can find them. So yeah, and like I said, like Craig said, the programs that we have set up, it's to make sure that we're keeping our partners as up to date as possible. If Microsoft release a new update or anything at all, any new program or any workshops that Craig's doing, they go straight into our partner Teams channel. So we're telling all of our partners that are in Dynamics at mass in Teams in a tool that they're using anyway. So we're not flooding them with emails. It's just nice. It's easy to consume. So there's so much that we're doing as well alongside Microsoft to improve user adoption.
So guys, we've laid out a lot of information here, a lot of great insights in terms of what the opportunity is and what do we need to do to capitalize it. So Craig, Matt, think about this, a partner comes up to you, they could be a new partner doing a clean start. They could be an existing partner that has a lot of history in the business, but they want to know what's their first step. So where do they go first, Craig?
In my opinion, the first start would be go to our landing page, dynamics.microsoft.com. It is the entry point of all of the applications. and getting started, starting up a trial. Again, when we've talked about and kicked off this conversation, I know we both alluded to it, all three of us have ERP and CRM. When I started at Microsoft, when we first started buying our first ERP applications, we grew into 4 client server ERP applications and 1 CRM application. If you go to dynamics.microsoft.com today and click on products, you'll see there's over 30 applications. And so this business has expanded way beyond what it started out to be as, and whether it's mixed reality or AI and again, field service, marketing, project, find the applications that complement what you do well and that complement the services that you're already providing to your customers. And to me, that would be the single point of starting. Go to dynamics.microsoft.com, click on even get a trial going and think about how you kind of test around and play around with what these products can do.
Very good. Matt?
And then for me, I couldn't agree more with what Craig said there around going to that main website, but then also it's making sure you're partnered with a good indirect provider partner as well. There's a lot of resources on top of that. I really like the Partner Transform website from Microsoft, enabling partners to have the right resources at the right time to build a practice, go to market, and then win opportunities. All these different resources that are available, the Cloud Enablement Desk, there's other programs available through Microsoft, could be ISV Connect and, Fast Track and all these different programs enabling partners to go to market. But it's a lot to take in. Simply going on and I'll say Bing searching as Craig's on with me, but going on and searching online for these resources, it's going to be hard to find them all. Like I say, we use our partner teams channel. All those resources are in one place, so you're not missing anything as a partner. So making sure that you're partnered with the right indirect provider to guide you on that journey is definitely another great place to start. We're enabling more and more partners to go to market for the very first time with Dynamics. It's a huge passion of mine. I absolutely love doing it. I love seeing partners transact that first customer and getting them to the next level. So if you can find a good partner that's going to enable you to do that, then for me that's the second place to go. It's understanding the products, going on dynamics.microsoft.com, understanding those products, but then understanding how to get from A to B or even A to Z
or Z.
Yeah.
we can say that here too, Matt. So, I want to thank you both because, and I have to say is that Channelnomics, we work with Microsoft, we work with Ingram Micro Cloud, 2 great organizations and true great leaders in terms of cloud transformation in the channel. We've talked about this. There's a lot of opportunity in cloud computing, and Ingram Micro Cloud, Microsoft, and Google Workspace are supporters of Channelnomics' program to measure and identify these opportunities and trends for solution providers who are trying to get in or maximize their opportunities in the cloud. So, please check out our research and our guidance that we provide through Ingram Micro Cloud's website. I want to thank our guests, Craig Crescas of Microsoft and Matt Batterbee of Ingram Micro Cloud for joining us today, guys. Great conversation, great insights. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you for joining us again on Changing Channels. Technology is changing the world, and we're tracking those changes here at Channelnomics. So keep stopping by to find out what's happening in the channel and beyond. Until next time, I'm Larry Walsh.
Thank you for joining Changing Channels with Larry Walsh, a production of Channelnomics, with the support of our production team at Modern Podcasting. If you've enjoyed today's episode, hit the like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and share with your friends. For more information about Channelnomics services and insights, follow us on Twitter and YouTube, and check out our website at channelnomics.com. Channelnomics is a registered trademark of, and Changing Channels is copyright by 2112 Enterprises, LLC.